I'm Dr. Maria Andersen. I teach at Beehive Science and Tech Academy. I teach middle schoolers a class called Technology and Society. Last year while I was teaching entrepreneurship, I came up with an idea to help teachers in the classroom and started my second ed tech company. After I sold the first one, I went back to the classroom and all I wanted to do was be back in the classroom and teach. So I've been back at Beehive for 4 years now. And today we're here to talk about AI as a classroom partner, but actually this is one of those cases where after you submit the title 3 months before the presentation, you realize you had a better title. So this is the second title, the real one, When AI Listens, Teachers Thrive. And I want to start by talking about the time we're in right now, because I think that we are in like a messy middle in AI in education. Anyone who tells you they know exactly what we should be doing in education clearly doesn't know enough about pedagogy, the systems we teach in, the realities of the classroom. Do you agree? Mm-hmm. Can I have an amen? Mm-hmm. Okay. So we have half of the world telling us AI should be in every aspect of education right now. And then those of us who are saying AI might actually damage learning and thinking. Should we make sure first, right? Or you could phrase it like this: AI should be in every aspect of education. Or, by the way, licensure is exactly the same. Standards are exactly the same. Testing is exactly the same. You want us to adapt AI without these things changing too? When those are what teachers are evaluated on and when we evaluate learning in the classroom? Those can't both be true, right? AI does help teachers with some things, but it has increased the workload in other places. Can I have an amen to that? Amen, okay. So things that have gotten maybe a little bit easier depending on what you do. Lesson planning has maybe gotten a little easier if you have to submit lesson plans at the beginning of the week. You know, the ones that never actually work because you teach real students and you fall off of them very fast. Assessment writing has gotten easier, but harder, much, much harder now, is evaluating student learning. And AI is adding a new type of teacher work, a type of teacher work we haven't had to do before. And that type of teacher work is called school slop. And this happens when submitted student work takes the teacher longer to assess than it took the student to create. And the reason it takes longer to assess is because when we get learning submitted to us that feels inauthentic, we basically have three choices. The first choice is to challenge it with the student directly, to confront them about what they've submitted to us. That sometimes results in a battle of wills, a battle of parents, all sorts of things. And it takes more time than it would have taken to grade an authentic paper. The second choice is we can submit it to an academic dishonesty process, and that takes twice the time of number one, right? And creates really bad relationships between teachers and students. It turns us into cops. Nobody likes that either. The third thing we could do is show them that the AI didn't do a good job by critiquing the work they turned in. We could check the citations and prove they're not real. We could check the information and prove it's not good. Of course, then what we are doing is critiquing the work of an AI, which isn't actually what we're being paid to do, right? No matter what you choose with inauthentic work, all of these involve more time than just grading what we used to grade. And so when we're feeling right now this tension where it's like everybody wants us to use AI, but this is the tension we feel. Agree? Yeah, okay. So as we become learning detectives, which is I think what we are becoming now. Did you actually learn? How do I tell you actually learned? What you turned in, I can't tell what was AI and what was you. We are trying to figure out more classroom-based, in real life evidence of learning. We have to do things in a classroom now to be sure a student learned something. And that means redesigning everything, right? All the stuff we used to send home for work, we can't do that anymore unless it's you do the learning at home and we do the assessing in the classroom, right? And so teachers are pivoting to make that learning and thinking more visible to them. But it involves redesign. Teachers are pivoting to different assessment techniques that used to work and new ones that we'll have for the future. But that requires time too. So like, what kinds of activities do I think survive this new evidence of learning in our AI world? I think we can do like verbal check-ins and presentations without notes, things that we do live in a classroom. But you know, you got 27 kids there. That's a lot of verbal check-ins, a lot of presentations, a lot of redesign. We can do things that are observable learning in the classroom. I teach in a room where I have whiteboards around the whole room. I'll send all the kids up to whiteboards so that they can all put their work on a board. I can watch them all at once, see how they're learning, look for evidence of learning, right? They don't tend to have a computer dragged with them when they go to do that, so it's what's out of their head. So board work, real work, like problem solving things, writing without AI, writing on paper or writing in a locked down browser into a document. And I think we have to fall back on proctored in real life assessments right now. Maybe we won't do it forever, but the truth is that these things did work. And if everything we've done for the last 5 years isn't working, then you have to go back to something that did work, and that's fair. And teachers shouldn't be criticized for this. And I see lots of people out there criticizing teachers for this, and I don't think that's fair. In the last 2 years, I began to see how my middle schoolers were starting to use AI. Not high schoolers, not college students, middle schoolers, right? So I don't know, some of you might teach high school now. Your problem's getting worse as they come up. They were using AI to do the work for them, and it wasn't even really their fault. They would go to Google, they search for something on Google the same way they did 3 years ago, and what shows up now? An AI result.
Gemini.
So like, what, are we gonna blame them for the fact that Google's showing them an AI result at the very first thing and they don't wanna click on web pages anymore? Half the web pages they clicked on were blocked by the school filter. So what's easier for them, to read the AI summary or to try to go to web pages and find information? Of course the AI summary is easier for them. Of course that's what they want to use. So I had to redesign my teaching and assessment of learning for the reality of their AI use. And I want to kind of show you that journey, and then we're going to go into some like newer things that I'm doing as well. So this was like one unit before I had to redesign for AI. So we did like 15 topics in that unit. We did some topic-based activities. I gave them quizzes, but they had open notes for their quizzes. And then we did like a poster. They would select a topic and do a poster. And then we did some simulations in labs. So that was my old design. Well, one of the problems I discovered really quickly last year was that the posters were now all being written by AI. They would just say, can you make me a poster about this topic? And then they would just copy everything that is said, turn in the poster, done. Sometimes they would even be lazier than that. Print it, cut it out, tape it to the poster, done, right? No learning was happening. And so I was like, okay, well, that's gotta change, right? And so I switched to doing things out loud. I said my middle schoolers are gonna give a presentation out loud on a topic of their choice without any notes. But you can't just give middle schoolers that, so we have to do some scaffolding here. So anyways, so my units now, I actually had to cut back to 8 topics in order to make time for presentations and all the scaffolding for that. We still do topic-based activities, but I have to restrict the resources, like not let them use their iPads or computers, because if I do, they won't pay any attention. They'll just look it up. I have to do quizzes, but I specifically say now their notes have to be handwritten. We do presentations on unique but related topics from a list of topics I give them. And then we do even more simulations and labs now. It's a significant redesign. So what do students do for presentations now? So like I said, you can't just assign a presentation to middle schoolers or high schoolers and expect it to go well, right? And so this is what we go through. So first they select a topic from a list of 30 to 40 related topics to that core lessons I give them, right? And so things I used to have in lessons now are broken up into smaller topics that students will give presentations on. So they're delivering some of the content. So I had to make a list of all the topics they would choose from, and we go through the process of choosing those topics. I have to tell them a little bit about the topics so they can decide. Then they get an outline of 10 questions that's specifically produced for their topic. Now, that might sound like a lot of work, but I do use AI for this part, right? This is where I use AI, and I tell the AI to, I'm about to feed you a bunch of topics. For each topic, I want you to make me an outline of 10 questions related to the topic, related to these things, so that the students can present, right? So I just get AI to produce all the outlines in one long document, and then I just print the document front back and hand out the outlines to the students who pick the topics, okay? So they get an outline that's very specific to their topic, which they have to handwrite the answers to, because what happens if I just give it to them as a document? I I just feed it to AI feeds the answers, and I get back the AI, right? So they have to, like, you at least have to do the work to, and because they're handwriting, they try to summarize because they don't actually want to write everything the AI says, right? So the next thing they have to do after submitting that is create a slide deck of 10 slides. They are allowed to have no more than 5 words per slide, which means they cannot read from the slides. It also means AI does a very bad job of creating them a slide deck. So they can add their own images. Some of them will use AI to create images. Some of them find memes. But they can't have more than 5 words per slide. Then we practice giving the presentation in class multiple times to each other. They have different partners. We practice that so they realize they don't know their topic very well. And then they actually have to answer questions as part of the experience. It's part of their grade is answering questions at the end. So the next thing, I give them a chatbot that generates questions on their topic. So they type in their topic, it generates questions. If they know the answers, they can say, give me harder questions, right? So they can kind of prepare for the types of questions they might be asked. And then finally, they give a 2-minute presentation, a 2 to 3 minute presentation without notes in class. These actually turn out to be really good because they can't read their slides. There's nothing on their slides to help them except the pictures and a couple words. And so if they've gone through the whole process, these turn out to be pretty good. And then they have to answer audience questions. That's part of their grade. So it means that they had to deeply learn some topic for themselves, right? That relates to the core of what I'm teaching. Now that's a pretty significant redesign. And that's the amount of class time it takes to do 1 unit of presentations. It's a total of about 7 classes that get used up between all the scaffolding activities and the giving that presentation, right? And that's why I had to cut back the topics. But again, I took the topics I cut out and sliced and diced them so that the students are delivering them now. Is it the full thing? No, but they're actually pretty interested in hearing what each other has to say. Now the instructor prep for this, I had to create a list of 30 to 40 topics. I actually had to find articles and videos related to those 30 to 40 topics because the filters and YouTube blocking at my school is so high that if I don't pre-select all of the URLs and pre-select all of the videos to put through a filter, all the kids will have is AI for their research. That's it. I would rather they watch like a well-informed video than look at AI. So I have to do all that work. I have to create Canvas pages for all that stuff. Create the 10-question outline for 30 to 40 topics, create the chatbot for question generation, create the chatbot for researching the topic, create new rubrics for the outline, slide deck, presentation delivery, question answering. That was all the work I had to do to redesign. And so if there are any administrators in this room, I just want to tell you that if you expect innovation with AI, you can't just redistribute the exhaustion to teachers with this one more thing. In the history of teaching, when have teachers had to redesign 100% of their curriculum instantly? It's happened once before. Can you tell me when? COVID. It happened in COVID, which was only 5 years ago. And you know what the irony is? Everything that was produced in COVID is useless now. All of that online stuff we built, what is AI particularly good at? All of it, right? So the redesign everybody did 5 years ago is useless now. And teachers are going through this exhaustion all over again. 100% of their curriculum needs to be redesigned. So if there are any administrators in the room, I will just ask you this question. How many PD days have you given your faculty to do nothing but redesign courses? Yeah, I see all the teachers going 0, right? 100% of the curriculum has to be redesigned. So what can we do to help teachers right now? And more than ever, I think teachers need to be present in the classroom. If the only evidence of learning is happening in a classroom, we need to be super present to note that, to pay attention to it, to see it. But there's so much else happening in a classroom. So much else. It's really hard. And so imagine that we had AI that actually lightened our in the classroom load to give us that time to be present, pay attention, and note learning. And that is actually what we've started building at Socrait. So Socrait is a class companion. It listens to teachers as they teach. It collects data from their voice and gives them the freedom to be more present and attentive in class. It's pretty amazing. I might be a little biased. Our first steps were just to use that voice data and AI to automate busy work for teachers, the stuff that we'd like to get rid of. we like being with students. We like teaching our curriculum. We like doing innovative things. We don't like warning and praising students. We don't like counting all of those warnings and praises. We don't like taking attendance. Like there's things we would rather just would go away, right? And so we started with this stuff. We started with the busy work, but that's not where we're going to stop. And so the basic idea behind Socrait is that we have both a computer app and a phone app. The phone app is there to have you stream your voice and nothing else. It's not recording, it's just streaming. And so as it streams to us, we just collect the data as it goes by, and then the audio goes away. So you just teach as you normally teach. There's no Socrait this and Socrait that. It's not like Alexa, it's not like Siri, it's not like you have to press the button every time you talk. You literally press the button at the start of class, press the button at the end of class, okay? And then after class, you can log into your dashboard to see the data. So what I'd like to do is a live demo. I need one more volunteer from the audience to be a misbehaving middle school teacher, or middle school student. Is there anyone else who would like to volunteer? If not, I'm gonna I can't have Kristen do it. You want to do two? You can do. Oh, Peyton will do it. Thank you, Peyton. You get to be the on the phone student. You just put this on so I can see your name. Okay. Yes. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to take out my phone here and teach you a short little lesson. I'm going to turn Socrait on, and we're going to actually jump out of this presentation, and when it's time, we're gonna refresh this page here to see the data for today, okay? And so I am going to, it's just a little phone app. You literally just press start, okay? So I'm gonna press start. It's gonna get started here. And I'm gonna turn it upside down so that the mic is up. It's just hanging around my neck, or you can use an earpiece or something like that. I'm just bad at charging things, so this works for me. All right, so welcome to class today. We're gonna learn about the power grid today and how the power grid gets you power from the power plant to your electric socket. Emily and Susan, please stop talking to each other. Now before we begin, I wanna let you know that the assignment that was gonna be due tomorrow is actually gonna be due next Monday, okay? So just make a note of that. Emily?
Can I turn it in early?
Great question, Emily. You may turn it in early. Yeah, go ahead and submit it on Canvas. Okay, Nathan?
What are the next two numbers after 5?
Nathan, the next two numbers after 5. We've talked about this. Nathan, I don't want to be using 6, 7 in class anymore, so please stop. Okay? All right, so as we think about power, I want you to guess, David, why are you out of your seat? You don't know, can you get back to your seat, David? Yeah, thank you. Let's see. So as we were talking about, I'm curious if any of you have an idea how long it takes to get the power to get from the coal plant all the way to your outlet. Does anyone have an idea? Yes.
It's instant. It happens right away.
It's instant. It happens right away. Very good. Very good. Susan and Nathan, please stop talking to each other. And Todd, get off the phone, please. Put it down. It's not even legal. All right, so it is actually instant, and that's because the electrons travel at the speed of light, and so the moment they're produced at the power plant is the moment they get used at your house. And so, yes, Emily.
How would that work with like solar power with the sun going away at night?
Oh, well, if there's no sun and the solar power has no batteries, then we wouldn't have any way to use that power, right? So the sun has to be there to produce the power, and if we don't use it, then it doesn't get used. Yes, Nathan.
Where did you go to elementary school?
Nathan, that's an off-topic question. Can we try to stay with on-topic questions, please? You can ask me after class if you'd like. Okay, Todd, question?
I forgot to say it wasn't on my phone.
You weren't on your phone. Todd, I clearly saw you on your phone. So let's stay on topic, shall we? All right, so maybe one more thing about the power grid. David, why are you on your seat? Yeah, you know. Okay, get back to your seat then. Thank you. So power goes instantly to your house, or from the power plant to where it goes. It travels at the speed of light, and let's maybe just stop there so we don't have too long of a demo, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and hit stop. Hope you enjoyed being middle schoolers. Yeah. I'll tell you my trick, my 6-7 trick while we're waiting a second here. So I tell the students now that they each get to say it once per class, and then I just trigger them. So I will literally just be like, so, and I'll go like this, and the whole class will go 6, 7, and I'll be like, that's your once. We're done. So, most useful tip of the conference. Right there, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna refresh this here, and we can see the warnings that came through right here on the screen. So you can see, I don't know what I warned them like that. I'll have to look at that one. You can see that I caught the 5 students were present because I talked to all of you by name, right? It's grabbing the warnings. Nathan got warned the most, David, Susan, Todd. We have a class summary that gets produced as one of the things that happens from every class. So if we open that and review that, you'll see, I'll just read you some of the things. I don't know how easy it is to read back there. But the current assignment, originally due tomorrow, is now due next Monday. You heard me say that. Students may submit it early via Canvas. That was my answer to Emily's question, right? And then what happened in class, didn't ask change of assignments. This is going to be pretty boring because it's a pretty short class, but it'll catch things like there was group work for a while, the teacher, we watched a video, like whatever happened during the class will be summarized. And then at the bottom, it'll go through the content taught or delivered in class, right? So, yeah. This is super cool, right? Okay, so like if you have absent students that day, like sometimes we'll have like half the class out for robotics or something like that. You can grab that set of notes, you just hit copy text, you can move it to an email, put it on your LMS, send it to the special ed department who works with the specific student, whatever you need to do. Your summary is there. You don't have to relive your life, okay? So the next thing we'll look at here is that we have some messages. Let's actually draft this message about Nathan's behavior. Remember that this young woman here was Nathan here in the middle. And if we open that to review, I want to inform you about some recent classroom behavior concerns regarding Nathan. They've been engaging in off-topic conversations, asking questions not related to the current lesson, which can disrupt the flow of classes, instances of talking to the classmate during instructional time. To support Nathan in improving their focus and participation, it might help to discuss the importance of staying on topic during lessons, blah, blah, blah. It's a very nice, professional, neutrally worded email about whatever happens. I had a couple of us have had some pretty funny things happen in class, and the emails are hilarious because they're so, like I had a fart ring in class one day in my middle school class where all the boys were like taking turns farting each other to out, like, and so it literally drafted me emails, like every time I had to correct it, put it into the thing, and I got a lovely email to send to parents about the fart ring. And those kids were so embarrassed when they came back the next day and had to have this conversation with their parents. But I couldn't have written that email. What the heck would I have said, right? But Socrait wrote it for me. So all you do here is copy this, put it where you need to put it, make a couple tweaks. You know how you would tweak something, and you're done, right? Right from your voice. Okay. We do give you, there are coming soon. This actually just popped out in the interface today. I didn't say any reminders. These are reminders for you. You know all the times you say something in class like, oh, I'll remember, like Mary, I'll remember to write you your letter of recommendation tonight. Or, oh, I gotta remember to bring gravel for tomorrow's lab. We say them out loud because we're like in a stream of consciousness out loud anyways. Anything you say out loud that seems like when this goes live, I'm in a kind of like special interface right now, but when this goes live, probably it will say, because I did say out loud I was going to change an assignment, it will probably say, do you need to remember to change this assignment to Monday? The thing you would never remember to do until like the following Wednesday, right? So it's looking for things you say to give you a to-do list now. And so this will hopefully, thought it was going to come out this week. It's probably going to be next week. And this is like the tip of the iceberg. Okay, we decided to start with the things that were the most painful things in the classroom right now, because I think we're all feeling a little overwhelmed by the behavior post-COVID and by the realities of students who are very attention challenged. I was trying to think of a nice way to say that. And we need help with it, right? And so we started with this, but this is not where we are going to stop. So I'm going to go back to my slide deck and continue. Find my little clicker here. So today in Socrait, we have warnings and praises, assignment changes, class summaries, content taught, to-do lists coming out hopefully next week, and attendance will happen there too. And by the way, attendance will change as you talk to students. You never heard me take attendance, but I talked to 5 students, so it knew 5 students were there. And if you say out loud, Mary's absent, and 5 minutes later Mary walks in and you say, oh, hi Mary, glad you're here, it'll just swap it from absent to present, okay? I do want to assure you that we're a privacy-first company. We don't actually record your voice. We just stream it and collect the data from it. There's no danger of an audio recording ever getting out because we don't have one. Nobody has one. We remove the student names when we do LLM or AI requests. So you don't have to worry about I gotta draft the parent email without a name in it and then put the name in later. No, we just do that for you, as we should. Because why would I give you one more thing to do? We won't sell your data, it's in our policies. We're committed to FERPA, we follow all the same procedures as other companies for keeping the data safe. We sign digital privacy agreements with states if we're requested to do so, and we follow the AI safe principles. So we are doing our best to be have a foot forward on privacy instead of behind. So where we're starting here is with a lot of the stuff we don't want to deal with in the classroom. But where we're going is, I think, that in our future AI teaching world, we're doing a lot more stuff in class, out loud, directly with students. And that might mean we're walking around a room and saying Nathan, great job, I can see you've reached competency on that. Bing! Martha, I think, Martha, is that even a name anymore? Martha, I think you're progressing on this, but you're not quite there. Ding! That as you walk around and interact with students, we could be noting those interactions, right? Mm-hmm. And so if we are moving towards a competency-based grading, more out loud grading and interaction, we can go here with teachers as they do it, right? We have to just develop the interface first to be able to hear your voice, and so we're starting with the basics, right? We are an 11-month-old company. So I like to say what you saw just now is the worst Socrait will ever be. We're just going to keep building for you. And for me, because I'm still a teacher too, so I get to be delighted every time we add something. Now, do you have any idea how much data teachers say out loud? I want you guys to take a guess. Oh, my animation didn't work. Well, here you go. A teacher interacts with students by name in a classroom about 55 times an hour. Want to guess how many times they warn students in an hour? 65. 67. You missed your opportunity there. As my students would say, 6 to 7. It's about 8 times an hour. If you teach for 6 hours a day, that's 48 warnings you gave over the course of the day. Did you remember them all? No. Which is why we can't do anything about it. Because who can remember all of that data? Anyone want to take a guess about the actual warning to praise ratio?
3 to 1.
10 to 1.
10 to 1, 3 to 1. Definitely not 1 to 4. 2.3 to 1 right now in our data set. 2.3 to 1. Now, if you're warning 48 times in a day, and just do a quick math on that, you would have to have praised 200 times that day to account for that. Until the behavior issues start to dissipate, it's really difficult to do that many praises and still teach something, right? Now, we are finding that using Socrait does change things. I have a couple teachers who stopped using Socrait, and and then they saw me in the hallway and they're like, oh, you know what? I stopped using Socrait because my behavior problems were done. but then I realized I don't remember what I teach, so now I'm using it again, right? So like it did help them to get on top of things. And so if we look at like what teachers are overwhelmed about, we looked at 1,000 data points in our system of warnings, and we could see that like 30% of the warnings we currently give are about talking during class or not paying attention. This should be 20%. I grabbed the wrong graphic, it didn't have the correction. That bottom piece is 21%. Were for not being in your seat or sitting forward. So as David over here showed us, kids are out of their seat all the time, right? It's crazy. And then some other things. If your school was using Socrait, you could look at this data set. We don't have this feature built yet, but we can actually pull it for your school if your school wants to see it, right? I think what Socrait is also doing is redefining professional development. Because Socrait is a mirror for teaching practice. It's not an evaluation. It's not like going to the dentist and finding out you have cavities. It's like brushing your teeth every day, right? And so what you find is, what we've found in focus groups and when talking to teachers is that the very first thing teachers start doing is using student names more, because now that the data can be collected for you, you have an incentive to do it. And it's also good pedagogy, as it turns out. The next thing is they start praising more, because they're like, well, I don't like those numbers. I should be praising more. So they start to pay attention to it more. Then they start to say the context of the warnings and praises out loud. Instead of just saying, good job, or stop, they say, what do I want you to stop? What was the good job for? Which then not only tells that student, but the students around them, notifies them what the actual behavior was that was the problem, right? Plus it goes into the emails that way. They start to communicate with parents earlier about the problems they're having, so they get the problems solved earlier. And communicating information to absent students more, because it's easy now. We have lots of quotes from teachers. I might just, let's see what time it is here. 4:02, thank you. So like Socrait would remind me of things that happened during class that I didn't remember. I was able to review praises, warnings, and follow-ups to share with students and parents. Or I found Socrait to be a surprisingly effective classroom tool that supports a more positive classroom culture overall. The app records my classroom sessions and helps track both positive and negative student behavior, making classroom management more balanced and reflective. Right? There's nothing like seeing your own data and actually knowing what happened and being able to look over past days and see like, oh, this kid is actually improving. It's still there, but it's getting better, right? Like things like that. Our memories of them are just not so great. One that I really loved we got last week was from a first-year teacher. This is my first year ever teaching. Keeping up with student behavior, progress, and keeping absent students on track has been a major challenge for me so far. I saw your app on TikTok, and I think it's genius, especially as a first-year teacher trying to keep up with all the chaos while trying to be in the moment with students. Can you imagine being a first-year teacher? Is anyone a first-year teacher here right now? Guessing you guys are all veterans because you got to go to a conference. Yeah. I don't think first-year teachers get to go to conferences. They're underwater all the time, right? But can you imagine that, like with the behaviors we're seeing in class, like how hard it must be for them? It's so much information. So I think like teachers are holding it all together, but they need support and time while they pivot, and we're not getting enough of that. And I think that teachers also need to feel seen in this moment, that we are doing a lot of really hard work to try to figure this out, and it is time consuming. This was actually a quote that somebody gave us about Socrait, which I think makes it particularly funny. For the first time, someone noticed what I do all day. And I think we all feel that at the end of the day, like that there was so much we did, and we're so exhausted by it. So we're looking for schools and teachers to help us build a responsible, human-centered AI future for education. There are several things you can do if you want to learn more about Socrait. One is on our website in the top. You can bring your principal to see a demo, or if you're a principal, come get a demo with a couple of your teachers so you can see how they react to it. It's really fun. So you can see a demo from get signed up from the website. You can sign up for a time right there that's convenient for you. We have 5 schools now that we're working with across the school so that you can use Socrait all day long. couple teachers here from our school. Mr. O'Connor here, David, otherwise known as David, the student who stands up, is one of ours. So you can become a lighthouse school and be one of our very first schools. Our first schools get to have a lot of influence over which features come next. Would you rather have like class participation next, or would you rather have like, here's a professional development goal I have, tell me if I'm doing it better or worse? Like, it's your choice. Like, we can, these things are negotiable on our roadmap, right? So we've got those kinds of things if you're a lighthouse school. To do after the conference, we are going to be sending around, Kristen here is going to be sending around a sign up to get our newsletter. I write the newsletter, and it's not just about Socrait, it's about the realities of teaching in the AI world. So like that example about presentations, for example, will be in the newsletter in a few weeks. But it's very important, if you want to sign up for the newsletter, give Kristen your name and email. You'll also get this deck of slides from the session will be in that. The first email they send you. And so you can, so I'm telling you this because just about everything that goes to a school now ends up in spam. Mm-hmm. And so I'm trying to incentivize you to do after the conference, add it to your to-do list. If you want to get these newsletters, please open your email, make a to-do, open your email, find our email, and move it to your inbox so that you do get the newsletters we send to you, okay? And then you'll get the deck from the conference and everything else. Another thing you can do is follow, we're on like TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, and we are starting to publish with this newsletter, we're starting to publish resources for teachers. So like if you want a classroom chart for like, using in the classroom for each assignment, what level of AI use can you have? Things like that are going to be coming out in that newsletter. So those will come out in the socials, those will come out in the newsletter. So if you want to receive those things, please follow the socials or sign up for the newsletter. If you're a teacher, you can actually try Socrait. We have a light version for teachers, which will let you use it in one class for the semester. So I always say, pick the one that's the most overwhelming, because it can probably help you with the most, right? And so you can just download it and give it a try with that one class and see how you like it.
These QR codes will take you to the Play Store and the Apple Store to download the app.
Yeah, so you can go right to that and give it a try. And maybe tell some friends too, because we can't land anywhere but spam on campuses. So we need some teachers to spread the word in all of your social networks. We're here looking for some innovative charter schools who are ready to lead this responsible AI adoption and this human-centered future of AI, not the robots teach the future version of AI. So if you're interested in joining us, if you have any ideas, if you want to connect us with somebody, you have all those channels. And if you want to do nothing else, you may send me an email and I will connect you with the right people so that we can move forward together.